The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
This is Haymaker Combat Sports. Here, coming straight from the source. Only with the real, they ain't here to dress it up. Sweet science, MMA, you can get it all from us. Trust, 5 stars cause it's live. And through the fight game, we can guide ya. Slick talking, putting them in caution. Passing all the goals cause the audio is awesome. What you waiting for? Spread the word, tell a friend. This the podcast where all of the discussion ends. When they start going strike for strike, this the show that'll tell you what you seen in the fight. And they ain't playing on the mic, this a welcome to the show. Warm it up for the squad, Haymaker of the bros. I'm about wow, you can hear from the pros. It's Haymaker Combat Sports, time to roll.
Welcome, Haymaker Combat Sports, powered by Belly Up Sports Media Network. I'm your host, EJ Reed. Join me, my fellow host, Aaron Admire, Steve Johnson. What's going on, fellas?
Happy Monday. What a fun weekend that was.
What's going on, Steve?
Same here. Back after a weekend full of fights.
Yeah, we're recording on a Monday. This will be out on a Wednesday. And like the fellas just said, a weekend full of fights. But before we get into that, how was your weekend, Admire?
Man, I had a great weekend, man. Friday, went to the casino, met up with Rucker since he was in town. Kicked the shit out of the casino. Man, we got on the roulette table, $25 minimum. So you had to have $25 out there at a time. So we was playing $5 chips, like $5 on each number. And me and Rucker was just hammering them, dude. I bought it for $100. And like within 15 minutes, I was up to like $1,000, and I was 1,000 down to 500, back up to 800, 900, just back and forth. And I cashed out 600 after like 45 minutes. That's what I walked out with. And then Saturday night, watching the fights, put in some bets, put in a little 5-fight parlay, hit that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that when we talked about the fights, but we'll get into more detail about that when we recap these fights this past weekend. But how was Rucker out there? Was he pretty drunk?
No, he wasn't very drunk. His girl was. She was hammered.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen Tabitha hammered.
Yeah, she's been hammered both times I met her. She'd taken a nap, and then she'd woken up right before we all got down there. So when we went to dinner, she's like, I got to catch up with everybody. So she just started pounding drinks. So she got hammered.
I'm guessing I'll hear the extended version of this on Boot to the Face tomorrow. But Devin went with you down there to the casino as well?
Yeah, Devin and his wife came. So it was a good time. We just had dinner, played around.
Devin win any money?
No, he didn't win any money. He was pissed.
Did he lose money or did he break even?
I think he lost like $60.
Oh, damn. He didn't have your hot hand. What was you on the roulette table?
Me and Rucker were on the roulette, and then when I quit, Devin jumped in and took my spot, started playing my exact same numbers, and they didn't hit for him.
Ah, damn. Well, shit. What are you gonna do with that money you bank? You gonna take out the fiance and a nice dinner?
Shit, man. The very next morning, I got up to leave, and the heat went out of my car, so I already had to spend like $150 putting a new fan in my car because the blower motor was out. So did that, but I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Damn. Well, I'm sure you'll sleep on it and figure out something to do with money.
Yeah, got to sit in here. Got to burn a hole in my wallet.
Yeah, I'll say it'll be burning a hole in your wallet. But how was your weekend, Steve?
It was pretty good. Another weekend full of fights. That's what I was looking forward to. Get back to my normal schedule because it felt weird not having fights. The 6-week hiatus. That's what I did.
Yeah, I was in Houston this past weekend, so I didn't get to watch most of the main card live. I was out and about with my high school friends. One of my friends lives in Houston, and one of our other friends, he drove from Austin. He lives in Austin. He drove there, and we were out and about at bars and clubs. And I threw on the fight on my phone like so happened to be there, was walking out for the main event. So I did watch the main event on my phone live without the volume. And I don't know, we'll get into that when we talk about it. But then I went back and watched all the main card fights later on when I on my flight next day. And so got all caught up. And yeah, so let's get into it, fellas. UFC 325 that went down in Sydney, Australia. I always talk about, the time difference, but fighting in the morning, you think that affects the fighters, Admire, fighting so early?
I don't know. I remember the fighters used to like go to different countries pretty early to get adjusted to it. I don't know how early they do that now. I don't know if that's still the same process or not, but I'm sure they do their things to get adjusted to it. I mean, I think they get up early as it is whenever they're training. So they're professionals. I don't think it probably bothers them too much.
Well, I know it's a little bit different with the Australia because I think we talked about it last time. I think their early prelims start at 10, which is not too bad. But, when they go to London, they start like at 4 a.m. or something crazy like that. So, they always do a few of these fights in Australia each year. But yeah, on the early prelims, they had a bunch of road to season 4 tournament finals in this one. But they had to scrap the flyweight one because was it Aaron Toe? I think he missed weight by like 4 pounds or something crazy, if I'm not mistaken, or was it the other guy that missed the weight? I'm pretty sure it was Aaron Toe that missed the weight and they had to scrap that, but they had the other 4 ones on there. And at bantamweight, Lawrence Liu defeated Sulang Rambo by decision. In the featherweight division, we had Kaiichiro Nakamura defeating Sebastian Soleil. And then in the lightweight division, we had Dalmar Fan defeating Kim Sang-wook. And in the featherweight division, we had Khan Ofli defeating Yi Jia. I don't know if y'all got to watch the early prelims. I did not.
I didn't get to watch those.
No, I didn't.
So I might go back and watch. I mean, it was one finish, but a bunch of decisions. But just because I never really got into the road to UFC, so maybe I'll check out the highlights. But moving on to the preliminary card, the welterweight division, we had Jonathan Mikhailov defeating Oben Elliott by technical submission, rear naked choke. Middleweight division, we had Jacob Malkoun defeating Torres Finney by unanimous decision. In another middleweight fight, we had Cameron Ralston defeating Cody Brundage by TKO. And in the light heavyweight division, we had Billy Elikana defeating Junior Tafa. Did any of y'all get to peep some of these early the regular prelims?
I did tune in for the Junior Tafa fight. That's where I did get tuned in. So I did get to see the end of that fight. I got to see him get submitted. But that's all I got to see of the prelims.
So I went back and watched. I saw the results. Went back and watched some of the finishes, and Omen Elliott got put to sleep. So that was pretty fun watching. That sounds kind of messed up. It was pretty interesting watching. Brundage didn't look too good. Got TKO'd, and I saw the Junior Tafa as well. Junior Tafa, his brother Justin fights at heavyweight, and Junior cut down to light heavyweight. You should see the difference between his heavyweight body and his light heavyweight body. Admire. I don't know if you saw a picture. He has he looked a little soft in this fight, but like some of his other pictures at light heavyweight, he's all cut up. So I don't know why he wouldn't just do that from the get-go. He looks a little out of shape when he fights at heavyweight, but he didn't look good in this particular fight.
No, it didn't look good, and his record's getting a little rough, man. 6-5 now.
Yeah. You think he might be on the brink of getting cut?
What is his total record now, or his streak on?
That's a good question.
Let's see. I'm gonna pull it up.
He just lost his fight, and he lost the fight against Tuka Tokas.
Yeah, so he's on 2-1-1.
But he's
lost before that.
He's lost the last 4 or 5 fights.
He might get one more. He'll get one more chance, probably. I mean, just because. I mean, he's got a decent name, and if they need him, he can go back up to heavyweight and kind of fill in because that heavyweight division is kind of soft right now, and they need some people just to mix in up there. So, light heavyweight, I think they're pretty good, but if they need somebody just to throw in somewhere at heavyweight, he'd be a good guy for it. So I don't know. I'm sure they'll give him one more fight.
Would you keep him on the roster, Steve?
I would say he's not factoring anything. Yeah, he has a good name, but what is that to say to his bigger brother, to where I think had maybe more profiled fights, and they just cut him not too long ago. I think he's on the brink of, getting released because, like he said, lost his last two, and anybody that he's lost to significantly was somebody on the rise. With Walker, it's a little bit on the rise. De Lima at the time was getting knockouts, and Usman, his first fight, lost against him. So I don't think he's a factor.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's riding the name of his older brother a little bit. That's rough. Yeah, maybe just needs to go back to the drawing board and shake things up at camp. Maybe visit some other camps and see if he could revamp things. It's not a good look as far as if you're looking at his record on paper. Sometimes it's a case by case scenario depending on how the fight went, but not a good look. But yeah, we'll see what happens with him next. But let's move on to the main card, fellas. In the lightweight division, you had Quillian Salkiel versus defeating Jamie Malarkey by submission neck crank. Steve had Salkiel, and me and Admire had Malarkey. Malarkey initially looked to use that wrestling to control Salkiel, but after Salkiel was able to download the information, Malarkey had him pinned up against the cage, but Salkiel turned it around and got that reversal and used that body lock to take him down to the mat. And then after grounding Malarkey, Salkiel transitioned to the back. He locked up that choke. It was more so like a face crank though, and he applied that pressure and got him to tap. What were your thoughts on this one, Admire?
Yeah, in the pre-show, I initially took Malarkey. Initially I thought that he was going to do real good, but then the night of the fights, when I put in my bets, I put in 5-fight main card. I picked every fight, and I seen how much of a favorite Salkiel was. They had him at a minus 1,200 favorite. I was like, man, they know something that I don't know. That's like a way too heavy of a favorite that something's going to happen. So I changed my pick, betting wise. So I took Salkiel that night. So luckily he pulled it off for me and, helped me get the win there.
What was the odds on that?
Minus 1,200 for Salkiel, and Malarkey ended up being Malarkey was a plus 700 underdog.
What happened? I could have swore it was almost like a pick'em when we did the preview show. What happened in between the time?
Yeah, that's what I don't know. I thought it was a lot closer when we did the pre-fight show, but when I went to put in the bets, I was like, holy shit, a minus 1,200 favorite. That's insane.
I definitely wouldn't have picked Malarkey if he was that big of an underdog. So something must have happened after we did the show. Weird. What were your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Yeah, I think dude's record shows for it, and I see the potential. I think people may be sleeping on Quillian a little bit. Salkiel, not only he has stand up from his last highlight, he's got a somewhat a name, Jamie Malarkey. He's got that on his record now, a win. I think we're gonna start seeing good things from Quillian, because he's seeming versatile from what we see. He's got a submission win against Malarkey, who was once on the rise until he, I think, got his first loss.
Yeah, and Salkill had that head kick last year, and you know, it's all about building momentum. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of fight he has next. I think he called out a ranked fighter, if I'm not mistaken, in his post-fight interview. Can't remember who, but we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, let's move on to the next fight. We had Towson Teixeira defeating Tai Tuivasa by unanimous decision. I had Teixeira, Admire, and Steve had Tuivasa. Yeah, so in that first round, Tuivasa came out aggressive, but Teixeira was able to change levels and get that takedown within like the first few seconds of that first round. And Teixeira spent the majority of that round in control, landing in that ground and pound. And, you know, he was able to cancel out that knockout power to Tuivasa. And then in that second round, you know, it was pretty similar. Tuivasa landed a couple of those heavy shots, but Teixeira was able to take him down and get him to the mat. And he got in that full mount and went for that arm, that triangle choke, and kept him. Tuivasa, you know, defending for most of that round. And then in that third round, you could just tell both of those fighters were about to pass out. They both looked tired. And, you know, Tuivasa tried to make like a late surge, and he found that second wind and was trying to walk Teixeira down. And he landed a few big hands and like, is he able to rally and get the knockout? But Teixeira was able, you know, to go in defensive mode, and he had a solid chin, and he was able to survive that late onslaught and able to get the win. What are your thoughts on this one, Admire?
Yeah, this was another fight that I on my bets, I actually went against my initial pick. My initial pick, I did pick Tai Tuivasa, and you know, I said, "Oh, he's in Australia. There's no way he's going to lose." Blah blah blah. But then the other night, I was looking through his record when I was making my picks, and I was like, "Man, he's on like a 4-fight losing streak, and 2 of those losses were in Australia." So if he's already lost in Australia twice and he's on a 4-fight losing streak, there's a good chance he's going to lose again. So I went ahead and bet on Towson Teixeira. And he looked really good in the first 2 rounds because, you know, the level changes. He knew exactly how to time those takedowns and, you know, get Tuivasa down. And then the last round, man, it looked like Kimbo Slice versus Dada 5000, man. They were both just done. Like, they both couldn't even throw their arms. They were so tired, dude. It was crazy. Like, I think there was one point in the fight that they both kind of just dropped their arms and kind of stood there leaning against each other, like kind of like they just mutually agreed not to even throw a punch for a few seconds. Like, it was pretty bad, man. Like, shouldn't have been a main card fight. That was kind of embarrassing, but whatever. Teixeira definitely needs to work on his gas tank. You know, Tuivasa is a big guy. I would expect him to get cut. I mean, he's likable, he's cool, but like being on this kind of losing streak, you can't be on a 5-fight losing streak and still be ranked. I mean, that says something really bad about the heavyweight division, man.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get you to hold that thought because I'm gonna talk about that a little later. Steve, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I always thought Tuivasa, he always struggled, seems to me, with these longer fighters. I mean, he's won some, but like I said, this is 6 losses in a row. It doesn't look too good for him, and I think he may be expendable. Plus, how that fight, you know, didn't go down as a fight of the night. Maybe that would have helped him, even if it was a loss. But, you know, we have Teixeira, who we have Tuivasa beat so-called Derek Lewis. And Teixeira, he lost against Derek Lewis, but Teixeira did a good thing this fight because he won back that L, so to speak, by beating Tuivasa, who beat him. So I think he did good with this win. I think it was a strategic fight, sort of to get that loss back that he got from Lewis, and he got the job done.
Yeah, I mean, Teixeira did what he needed to do, get the job done, but it wasn't pretty. But going back to what Admire said, as far as like, you know, being on that 5-fight losing streak and still being ranked at heavyweight, does heavyweight have a talent problem right now, Admire? Because there's a lot of discourse online that this whole division should just be scrapped. Of course, people being dramatic and trolls on Reddit and whatnot. But what do you think about that, Amar?
Yeah, I mean, you can't scrap it because I mean everybody loves watching heavyweights fight. That's the big boys got that one punch knockout power. But where have all the heavyweights gone? I mean, are the big boys finding a new sport to get into? Are they like trying something else? Like, I mean, I guess it just changes over the years. You know, for a while, light heavyweight was where it was at. Then it was heavyweight. You know, in the early days, like you know, it seems like every few years it just kind of rotates. But right now, heavyweight is just in a slump, man. You got Tuivasa. I mean, if maybe they haven't updated the rankings right now, but Tuivasa, they still got him sitting in number 12, 5-fight losing streak. You know,
yeah, they haven't updated the rankings yet.
I mean, I don't know what is Derek Lewis on a 1-fight loss, or is he on multiples?
I think he may have won the fight before the fight he just lost that we saw, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, he was on the 2-fight because, like Steve said, he beat Teixeira and then he beat Nascimento. So he's on a 2-fight win streak before losing to Waldo Cortez Acosta.
All right, so that this will help explain it. So Derek Lewis is number 10 and one loss. And Tuivasa is 12. Was 4 losses before this fight. So that's the gap between the heavyweight rankings. A guy that was on 1 loss and a guy on 4 losses when you rank 2 spots apart. That's wild, man. Like, I don't know. The UFC needs to like put a call out like, hey, man, you know, call out to the gyms, like get your big boys ready. Like, we need to have a heavyweight tournament, do a heavyweight tough, like do something, you know, do a heavyweight Dana White's Contender Series. They need to build up some talent somehow.
Yeah, well, Steve, what do you think the UFC could do about the talent problem up there, heavyweight?
I think that would be a good idea. Just gravitate attention to a whole division that really needs it. Because you got people that beat each other back and forth, other than the ones that are stars, but we got a stagnation on that in the division, you know, with Aspinall, and so you got the next best person, which is Cyril Gane, on a standstill, and probably will never get the best of heavyweight anyway, even if he beats Aspinall, because you know you have John Jones, who's already accomplished that. So he's stuck in a hard place. So it's like, I think it's about stars, heavyweight stars. It's not like it was, say, 20 years ago. Cain Velasquez, Frank Mir, Alistair Overeem when he came, Brock Lesnar. This is all at the same time. What is it? Got crane kicked in the face.
Oh yeah, Verdum.
Oh no, you talking about Randy Couture or?
Yeah,
Randy
Couture.
Verdum.
Lyoto Machida.
Oh, Lyoto Machida, that light heavyweight.
Yeah, you're right.
Didn't Verdum have a?
I don't know if Verdum had a crane kick like that, am I? But
I thought he did a front kick on somebody. Travis Brown.
Oh yeah, he did. That's right. That was because his face looked like it melted. I remember that.
He came out right into the fight, opened up the fight with a kick. He just came straight out running and kicked.
Oh yeah. I almost forgot about him. Who'd you say again? What's his name?
Travis Brown. It was Verdum that kicked Travis Brown.
Yeah. And so that's like almost 10 people already I've mentioned. And look at that today.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of was like a gradual thing. Like by the time you put your head up, you just realize that the cupboard is kind of empty at heavyweight because was it mid-decade? You still had like the heavy hitters, the JDS still in the mix, and Verdum and Bigfoot Silva and Cain Velasquez before his sources, which happened. Even Ngannou, Travis Brown, Pat Barry, and all of those guys. Check Congo. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, those guys just got old overnight for some reason, and now the cover is bare a little bit. And John Jones, he's always in and out of retiring and taking long hiatuses. And then, yeah, I mean, you got Gone in the mix, and even Tom Aspinall with the eye injury. It's just a weird time for the division right now. And I don't know, like, were you saying, am I going to try to visit some of the gyms and get talent, like you said, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, they need to do something. I mean, call out to the gym and just say, hey, you know, our heavyweight division's shallow. If you got any guys, like, you know, have them try out or reach out to us. Because, I mean, even like, you know, you got Sergey Pavlovich up there. I mean, he's one of the better guys, but he just had a 2-fight lose streak before he won his last 2. So, I mean, even your best fighters at the top of the division have some losses. Like, you don't have that it factor like all the guys that we just talked about, because back then it was like at any time one of those guys could have been champ. It was like everybody was a contender back then. And now, once you get past like number 4, it's like, man, you know, whatever. So they need to do something to build up that division, or I don't know, like create a new division up there, make a 225 division, and then make everything after that open weight. I don't know.
I mean, that division exists, but UFC just doesn't have it. That's cruiserweight. It's like a sanctioned division by the MMA body. But UFC just doesn't have it. 225, which is cruiserweight. But wouldn't you think that would dilute the heavyweight if you had some guys fighting at 225?
It would dilute the heavyweight. It would, but then it would make something new and shiny to look at over here. Hey, look at this new cruiserweight instead of looking at how bad the heavyweight is over here. And take your eyes off that for a minute and let them kind of reorg the heavyweight division while we're looking at the new shiny toy over here.
And when it was finally became officially sanctioned division back in it was like 2017 or so, I thought it would have been cool for the UFC to get that, but that was back when the talent pool was still heavy. But now I'm like, I don't know if you got enough bodies to do a cruiserweight division now. I mean, maybe if you get some guys up there that don't like to do the light heavyweight cut, but even that division isn't as deep as it used to be. So
yeah, I mean, it's the next division that's like gonna be super thin. Like, yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts, Steve?
I can see, you know, Dana White says there'll never be a female, you know, part of the UFC. So, you know, look at that as an example to where that can be the new magnet to where, you know, both of those, I would say both of those divisions are kind of stagnant right now. Light heavy, who has it right now?
Alex Pereira.
Yeah. And he's talking about going up. And so I would say, and we've been talking about cutting fights or whatever, or fighters. I would say just see a gravitation in between light heavyweight and heavyweight and see how that gravitates. And I would say light heavyweight would survive more than, and temporarily just see that division cruiserweight until you build up a heavyweight like Admire's idea and have a whole heavyweight house or a you know, a mass invite to gyms to just get new heavyweight talent, because it seems like, you know, heavyweight's in a hard place, especially when people exited UFC. At least question of these people even that are still there. You know, John Jones left that equation to where, like, even if he was there or not, the person I beat is on top of all you guys, which is Cyril Gahn. So it's like solidifies that. So there's like heavyweight is in a place to where, like we explained, all the fighters I named, not enough star power in it.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be like some sort of renaissance in the heavyweight division before they even think about trying to do like a cruiserweight division. You know, light heavyweight, I don't know how long term of a champion Pierre's going to be down there, especially with his age, and we've seen him getting beat before. So I don't know. They got to do something with some of these higher weight classes because, like Emma said, heavyweight was the glamour division back in the day, and what those two guys just put on was not wasn't fun to watch, really. It was kind of sloppy, but we'll see what they do moving forward. But let's keep it moving, fellas. Middle of the card, lightweight division, we had Mauricio Rufy defeating Rafael Fiziev by TKO. Adbire had Rufy, and Steve had Fiziev. And round one, Fiziev looked sharp early on. He was utilizing that Muay Thai, and he controlled the center of an octagon. It was kind of peppering Rufy with those calf kicks and those strikes to the body. And he dictated the pace, but Rufy, was able to compose himself and find his timing in that final minute and landed some counters and, kind of downloaded the information. And then that second round, Fiziev was aggressive, but Rufy was able to counter strike him and, started finding that mark. And then late in that round, Rufy landed that big right hand that sent Fiziev stumbling, and Fiziev tried to cover it and shot for a takedown, but Rufy stuffed it and got that ground and pound and got him out of the paint. What were your thoughts on this one, Mike?
Yeah, this is a fun fight. Like, these dudes were getting after it, man. Fiziev came out super aggressive. Like, he was ready to brawl. And, I mean, I felt like he was in this fight the whole time. Like, at any moment, he could have landed something that would have finished it. He had bad intentions all the way around. But, unfortunately for him, he just kind of got caught there at the end of that, towards, when Rufy got him covered up and, got him out of there. Rufy looked good. Like, both these guys, I think that, give them time. They're both going to be moving up that ladder. I would expect to see both these guys probably one day, title contending.
Okay.
I mean, they're both very aggressive fighters, and I think they're both well-rounded. They both look real good. I mean, it was kind of a shame that they both had to fight, because seeing one of these guys have to lose, because they were very stylistically matched well.
Yeah, styles make fights, like they say, right? So yeah, it was a fun one. What were your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Yeah, it's a shame because Fiziev, he's one of those fighters that has a nice style, very fierce in his striking, imprecise, and we usually see him on the other end or of a decision of a fight. We're talking about a guy who went against a veteran Gaethje and survived that and had a pretty good striking match. It seems like with this fight, he has problem with height, and this is one of the most, I would say, strategic and technical fights that were intense and not just a standoff. And they went at it. They're throwing strikes, leg kicks, trying to take each other out. And I'm really gonna have to look at Rufy now, because he was throwing a lot of slick stuff compared to who he was fighting, which Fiziev is a master to me. That head movement, moving out the way, setting up shots, and he got caught. I guess he went left when he should have went right. Like Amar said, it's a shame that you have to see two striking figures that are people that we would like to watch, and one of them lose. But for him to knock out Fiziev like that, I'm definitely going to have to look after him in his next fights.
Yeah, and they haven't updated the rankings. Rufy came in 14 and Fiziev is number 9. So what do you think? I know you think he may be in title contention somewhere down the line, but what do you see his upside as a admirer?
Yeah, I mean, there's no telling. I mean, he's so good at striking and is kind of just very well-rounded. They haven't updated the rankings, but I would expect him to kind of leap up to where Fiziev was And there was another winner that we're getting ready to talk about. I know he wants to, kind of jump up and fight somebody and probably take the guy he beats, position. So I don't know, but I would like to see Rufy fight Benoit Saint Denis. Like that would be a banger of a fight, but I don't know if that fight really makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if that fight makes sense yet, but who knows what happens once they come out with these new rankings, and we'll be able to do a better assessment when that happens. But yeah, I'm curious to see where Rufy goes from here and how far he can take it in division, because
he already beat Rufy 3 fights ago.
Oh wow. See how
he
many
submitted him. St. Denis submitted Rufy.
So I mean, you can run it back. We watched so many fights. I totally forgot about that fight. When did that happen?
That one happened. We'll go back. I think it was a couple years ago.
2025.
Yeah, 2025, September 2025.
It was just last year.
Dang. So St. Denis fought 3 times since September 2025.
That's insane. Sometimes you keep that momentum going, but sometimes you need the rest. So hopefully we'll see him get some rest before he does his next fight. We haven't really talked about him getting that win this past weekend. So let's just jump right into that. And another lightweight fight, we had Benoit Saint Denis defeating Dan Hooker by TKO. In that first round, Hooker was trying to use that reach, and he was landing those front kicks to the body, and it was affecting Saint Denis a little bit. And Hooker tried to put a guillotine, but wasn't able to get it. And late in that round, Saint Denis got that judo throw and opened up that cut for Hooker. And then in that second round, Hooker tried to go for the takedown with Saint Denis reversed. And Saint Denis got in that mounted triangle position and was unleashing those elbows and was going back and forth between like ground and pound and trying to get that choke. And he finally got him trapped, and Hooker was able to escape that mounted position and got the TKO finish. What was your thoughts on this one, Admire?
Yeah, this was a pretty good fight too. Like you said, Hooker was going to the body a lot on St. Denis, and he didn't like that. Like it seemed like Benoit St. Denis, I don't know. I mean, obviously it works. He's got quite a few wins, but his defense doesn't seem that good. It seems like he leaves his body open a lot, and even, I mean, he leaves his head open. He took a lot of shots to the head, quite a bit of shots to the head as well. He got hit a lot. But he got the win, so I mean, it obviously works. Hooker landed some good shots on him, but unfortunately, Hooker got outstruck and just kind of outworked every which way the fight went. St. Denis had him, in a couple crank positions, all kinds of stuff. Like I thought, Hooker would have done better. I think Hooker's ego is probably the most damaged part of that. All that shit he talked about Patty Pimblett, and then goes out there and takes the loss. So don't do all that talking.
What was he saying about Pimblett?
Leading up to Patty Pimblett's fight last week, they were just arguing back and forth on the internet, just crazy shit talk. So that's the fight to make next, obviously.
I wouldn't be bad at that. What were your thoughts on this fight, Steve?
Yeah, Dan Hooker seemed like he was doing good on the stand-up, and even, a few takedowns or whatever. But as the fight went on, I think fatigue settled in also, and Saint Denis, he imposed his will, took him down, controlled him, and basically took him out on the ground. And also saying that, he must have been hurt because the referee gave him every chance. I mean, the referee was letting him beat on him for a long time. So that was a decisive win. And I think Denis is on to looking at good things and definitely replacing Hooker possibly at number 6 to start getting up in that number 5 and up contendership.
So, like I said, UFC hadn't updated the rankings, but Saint Denis was number 8. You were saying that Hooker and Pimblett should face off next, but who you think Saint Denis maybe get matched up with next, am
I think Saint Denis, you got to give the winner of like Oliveira and Holloway.
Well, yeah, I forgot to mention that after the fight, Saint Denis said he either wants a title fight or the BMF belt. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody call out for the BMF belt. That was weird, am I?
Yeah, I mean, it shows the guy likes to fight. He's obviously done the UFC some favors, 3 fights within like 4 months, so why not call out something, don't go up there and just say, hey, I'll do whatever. Go out there and, do your call outs. So, and ranking wise, it makes sense. I mean, if you know that the UFC isn't going to give you the title shot, go for the next best thing, go for the fake title, and, that's one of the big things for your resume. Yeah. Either one of those guys, whoever wins, Max Holloway or Charles Oliveira, fighting either one of those guys and beating them is a great thing to have on your resume and, really puts you into title contention. So that's a good call out for him. And I think that's a fight that really makes sense for him, because anybody else up there, Sarukian, I think Sarukian is probably next in line. They're not going to let him fight Gaethje for the belt. Nobody else makes sense.
So I don't know how big of a win beating Oliveira is at this point, because I feel like a little bit of the shine is worn off on Oliveira since he went on like that crazy fighting streak and lost the title. Does he still have the juice like that, am
I think so. I mean, I don't think he's fell off like that hard. He's still a great fighter. I mean, he's lost to Elias Poirier. He lost a split decision to Sarukian, and then lost to Makhachev, which everybody loses to Makhachev. So, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with the losses he has taken in the last, 2 years or a couple years. I mean, Sarukian and Sarukian and Poirier is all he's lost to in the last 2 years.
I mean, he lost the title to Islam, even though Islam is now in the higher weight division.
That was 4 years ago, so it doesn't even count.
What do you mean? It definitely counts.
4 years ago. I mean, that's.
But I'm looking at. I might be downplaying some of his wins because the Chandler win is aging like milk because Chandler just gets beat. Gamrot, solid. Darius, solid. I feel like the Gaethje and the Poirier wins when he beat them, this was even further than the Makhachev fight. They look really good, but even those guys are good. I don't know.
I mean, Justin Gaethje is like the fucking interim champ, and he beat Gaethje back then when Gaethje was still, 4 years younger. So, I mean, he beat Chandler when Chandler was more in his prime. Poirier when he was more in his prime. Tony Ferguson before he was punchy. Like, Oliveira fought the who's who when they were good. And you can't hold the Topuria loss against him. That just happened 6 months ago. Topuria, it's him. Like, you can't hold that loss against anybody. Sarukian, I mean, he's almost the same at this point. I mean, he's lost to like Gamrot, Makhachev, and like one other rando early in his career. So it's not like Sarukian's a bad fighter. So, I mean, Oliveira has only lost to like really, really good people.
As much of a Shark Tank lightweight is, it's always like that weird feeling that I always have. Like, Y'all guys are good, but how good are y'all? Because y'all can never beat the champions, and they always like either retire or leave the division. None of y'all could beat Habib, and none of y'all could beat Makachev. So how good are y'all really?
I think it's more about how good Makachev and Khabib was, not how good the other fighters are. It just shows how leagues ahead they are. Like Makachev is just so fucking good that I mean it's going to be hard for anybody.
And then it seems like none of y'all could beat the peer either. So like, how good are y'all? I don't know. What do you think about that, Steve?
Well, I think lightweight has been dominated by so-called wrestling or grappling type champs, and I think people are just waiting for somebody to be the equivalent because it so to speak could be pass the torch down to Islam. So I mean, we're either watching either somebody compete with the wrestling or totally take him out with strikings. And so as far as like terms of if we're talking about Denis fighting up at lightweight or who to fight, is that what we're talking about?
No, I was just saying that with Oliveira, how much of a bragging right that is if thinking he could beat him, because he's every time he's faced like the top of the top, Oliveira lost. But he can only fight who's in front of him. Like he can't help that Khabib retired or Makhachev went up in weight division. I mean, he could control of beating Superior because Superior hasn't left division. He's just on a hiatus right now. I'm guessing a sabbatical. But yeah, I know it's like I said, it's always weird. It's always that, kind of a black cow when you have people leave the division or retire or stuff like that. Cause it's like, all right, what will happen if you beat this guy who happened to retire or go up a division? It's always that asterisk,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That fight happening in that 326, isn't it? Holloway and Oliveira, am I?
Yeah.
For the BMF title. And Gaethje got knocked out by Holloway, so that's another weird factor in there. But then Holloway beat Poirier on the way out in his retirement fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have that factor. But has Oliveira faced Holloway? Isn't this their second fight? Didn't he lose to Holloway back when they were at featherweight? Back it's like in 2015 or so. I want to say they fought
way back in the day. I think so. Max Holloway, yeah, he lost to him TKO neck injury 2015.
I don't even know what that means. A neck injury during the fight.
It says TKO neck injury.
Maybe he got his esophagus crushed. That was the fight where he was holding his neck.
Got his esophagus crushed. That sounds fucking gnarly. How was he able to bounce back from that? I mean, low key, maybe Holloway's like the best person in this division. I mean, the only person he lost to is Superior. Besides, like, of course, the Volkanovski fights, but that was a featherweight. The only person he lost to is Superior, Admire. So,
yeah, I mean, it's weird. I mean, everybody's kind of just mixed up at this point. Everybody's kind of faced everybody. The guy at the tops lost to the guy at fourth. The guy at thirds beat the guy at first. Like it's just all mixed up.
yeah. So
I mean, there's gonna have to be some run backs somewhere. There's gonna have to be a couple fights that probably don't make sense, but kind of have to let things kind of shake out.
yeah, I mean, eventually it'll probably all iron itself out. But if Saint Denis doesn't get the winner of like Oliveira and Max Holloway, I wish they would just update the rankings so I could try to almost fantasy book some of these fights. Because you already penciled in Patty Pimblett and Dan Hooker. I don't know. Like, so is it Armin Tsarukyan's just gonna sit? Like, what's going
I thought they had him lined up somewhere for a fight. Let me take a look and see what I can find.
What about Saint Denis and Gamrot?
Yeah, I thought Gamrot had something lined up as well.
Probably does.
Let's see. Next
I hadn't
fight.
done my due diligence of if
No,
he has.
Tsarukyan is not.
I know Tsarukyan doesn't have it, but does Gamrot have anything lined up next? Because the last time he fought he lost to Oliveira, like you said.
Doesn't have anything as well. Crazy.
Yeah, so I say line those two up. Saint Denis Gamrot, see what happens. But yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, everybody's beating everybody. Everybody's faced kind of everybody in the light division. So we'll see how things shake out with that. But let's move on to the main event, fellas. Featherweight division. We had your champion, Alexander Volkanovski, defeating Diego Lopez by unanimous decision. Those first 2 rounds were a little weird. It wasn't a whole lot of action when Volkanovski actually caught, because like I said, I watched the fight one time without the sound, and I'm like, these first 2 rounds are pretty close, but I'm guessing when you listen to it with the sound on, Volkanovski caught, I think it was the second round, he caught Lopez with like a big right hand, and maybe that was able to win him the round. But I'm like, these first 2 rounds are really pretty damn close. And then in that third round, Lopez landed that right hand and got that flash knockdown. I thought that won him the round, even though Volkanovski recovered pretty quickly. And in that fourth round, Volkanovski, he turned up the volume, but I didn't think it was a whole lot of action in that fourth round either. And clearly Volkanovski won that fifth round, and he got on top of him. Looked like he was like teabagging him. that was a weird look, but he definitely won that round. And like when I listened with the sound on, the commentators made it seem like Volkanovski just washed him, and I guess the judges thought that too, because it was one judge gave it 50-45, which I thought was outrageous, but the other judges 49-46. They're saying Lopez only won one round, and the commentators made it seem like Volkanovski was just washing Lopez. I thought the fourth round probably should have been called. Like we said, the judges don't utilize 9 rounds a lot. They should have. I don't think anybody really won that fourth round. That could have been a tie. This fight could have easily been a draw, I think. I don't know. It was just weird. Like I said, I watched the first time. I thought it was closer than it was. I watched it with the volume the first time. I don't know. This was just interesting. What do you think about this fight, Amir?
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty evenly matched. I think this fight was kind of one of those cases of you have to beat the champ to be the champ, and Diego Lopez just really didn't do anything to beat Volk. I think Volk did enough to keep Diego Lopez, kind of at bay, but he didn't really do anything spectacular to like in the fight. Like I think Volk won. I think I scored it like 49-46. I think I gave Lopez 1 round. I think Volk just did a better job of, the defense is all it was. I mean, it was a very defensive match for him. It wasn't a whole lot of offense on Volk's side. I think Lopez had a lot more pressure. I think he had a lot more striking because I think Lopez knew he was behind most of the fight, so he was more willing to engage, willing to push the pace, try to land the bigger shots, try to do something. But Volk's just too strong, too fast, and then of course, towards the end of the fight, like you said, he worked that takedown and had the more control and everything. And I think that's what really sealed the deal on that round. So that's 2 now for Lopez going against Volk. So I don't know where he goes from here. As long as Volk's champ, I don't know. I mean, Lopez is an exciting fighter. I mean, it's one of those cases where you have 1A and 1B. I mean, it's like Lopez would be champ if it wasn't for Volk.
Before I forget, me and Admire both had St. Denis and Steve had Hooker, and all three of us had Volkanovski in this one. What was your thoughts on this main event, Steve?
Well, I think it was the same rendition of the last fight, if not, I don't know. I wasn't too excited except the hype moments. I think a lot of momentum shifted from Lopez when I think he threw a kick and he was visibly limping on his leg. I forgot which round, but after the fight, now that we heard he's having two of his feet are broken, that kick probably stopped his momentum from having anything in the later rounds. Keeping that momentum up and adrenaline. I bet you both of his feet were hurting from breaking it during the fight. But Volk looked controlled, and to me, I think he won the fight because he looked like he was controlled the whole time, and picking him apart basically to where I don't think Lopez was throwing it volume like Volkanovski.
Like I said, I rewatched the fight. You can't say that Lopez won the fight, but I don't feel like Volkanovski was doing a whole lot. He had some good counters. Why are judges so afraid to be like, all right, both of y'all didn't do a lot, so it's just this round is just a 9-9. It's a tie. Am I? Because I feel like a few rounds could have went that way.
I definitely think a few rounds could have went that way too. I think there's some kind of stigma around it. I think a judge is probably afraid of people just calling them out and being like, "Ooh, that's a shitty judge, man. Look what that judge did." Because it'll be talked about. Like, even though it would probably be the right thing to do, they don't want to be the first one to be really talked about and like questioned about it. And like, why did you do that? Or like, did you see what that judge did? Is it the right thing? Did that judge do the right thing? So, I mean, they're going to get critiqued, one way or another if they use that 9-9 round. But I would love to see the use of it because it's going to bring better fights, in my opinion. If you start showing that there's a 9-9 round, if you ain't going to push the action, you ain't going to try, you ain't going to do this and that, then you're going to be more likely to pull a Max Holloway. Like if you think there might be a 9-9 round in there, you might go out there and just, slug. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, and then I mean, if you're the champion and you end up drawing, I mean, you lose your title, but it'll force people to be like, all right, we want to see a little bit more from you as you had a draw in this fight. I don't know. I think they should utilize it more, and Admire agrees with me. What do you think, Steve?
I think they should, but like I said, it may put more responsibility on each judge to where they don't want to be that person to tip the scale to judge a fight. And, when you do 10-8, it kind of like skips in between if you can't do it 10-9 and 8. So I think it just puts more of eyes if you were to do that, to put a lot of blame on the judge that scored it. You can probably hone in on it more specifically, and like we've been talking about in our podcast, we've been eyeing these judges for a long time, and even the commentators are starting to notice a lot about these judges. So who knows? It might force them to be more careful in what they put down on paper. They say you had that 10-9.
Yeah, it definitely make them put more pep in the step. And in this not TKO, this Paramount Plus era, they've shifted to where I think your fighter automatically gets a $25,000 bonus for a finish. So that should be worthwhile trying to go out there and push the pay to get a higher paycheck. So I don't know. We'll see. But with this Volkanovski winning, he tied Jose Aldo's record for most wins in featherweight history. But I feel like in the second title run, he looks a little less dominant. You think he's kind of slowing down a little bit, Admire?
See, that's what everybody's question was coming into this fight. And like the commentators at the end were talking about, they're like, oh, people were questioning if he still had it, blah, blah, blah. He hasn't lost a step. What? Did we just watch the same fight? Yes, he did.
They make it seem like he, like I said, when I watched it with the sound, they make it seem like he just watched him, like he just beat the brakes off him or something. I'm like, this was a close fight in my eyes. Like I said, I think a few rounds could have been called a draw, but I don't know.
Yeah, but that's what they were just glazing him at the end. They were just like talking like he hasn't lost a step. He still got it all the way. I was like, man, he does. I mean, he's still a world-class athlete, no doubt. He can still kick my ass, but he's 37. He's got, a little bit of, age on him. He's taken a couple beatings, got knocked out by Topuria, got knocked out by Makhachev. So, that does wear on you. I think that he's slowing down a little bit, and eventually he might come across the right one and get taken out. I mean, this wasn't his best showing, and there's probably somebody up there that could, put him to the test. Lerone Murphy, would be a good example. Silva, somebody like that. Or, if Topuria wanted to go back down and just take his belt back,
that'd be messed up if he went around just to beat him again. That'd be real funny. But yeah, what do you think? You think he's slowing down some, Steve?
For real, I don't think he's slowing down because Lopez is a young person himself, so he's keeping up with him. I think Volkanovski, he's, as far as like what's been his last fights, just getting back on track as far as dabbling with that Islam thing. Went back at it with Rodriguez, rematched Islam and got KO'd, and then got KO'd against Topuria. So it's like the first Lopez win was his back on track. And there's a lot of people saying we didn't even want to see this fight again, but somehow Lopez got it. I would have to say to exit, he would have to see Lerone Murphy, or I think they booked this fight also, Lerone Murphy or Evelev. And out of those two, after his exit, I mean, I can say he's done it. But until then, I would think definitely that Lerone Murphy's right up to next for a new challenger, or else he's already done it already with Holloway or any other people in featherweight right now.
See, I do think that Volkanovski's slowed down some, even though Lopez, high level striker. But last time we saw Volkanovski to finish was against Yair Rodriguez. That was almost 3 years ago, and Volkanovski was 34. It's a big difference between 34 and 37. So I think he's definitely slowed down. I mean, it happens to the best of us. Father Time is undefeated. I mean, even if he slows down a step, like Admire said, he's still like a world-class athlete. And, even him losing a little bit of step, because he was just far ahead of everybody. Him losing a step, he might not be that far ahead of everybody, but he's still like up there as far as the best. But all it takes is one hitter to come up there, like Admire says, and knock his block off. It might be Lerone Murphy. Like we said, we got to see what happens between him and Evelev at that fight night main event. I think that's going on in London. But what do you think is up for him for his next opponent, Admire?
I think he's just got to sit back and kind of let things fall and see what happens. See what happens with that Murphy fight. Just let things shake out. I know Silva just won. Sterling, does Sterling have anything lined up?
I don't have a clue.
Because I know the other night they kept showing Sterling on TV, so I was wondering.
I don't know. I mean,
I didn't know if that was kind of a hint or something because they kept showing him on the camera.
he beat Ortega back in August. I mean, it's been a little minute since he's fought.
I mean, I don't really want to see it, but
I don't think he has anything lined up right now, Sterling.
Yeah, he doesn't. So I mean, I guess they could do that way, but I think that Evlov and Murphy is the best bet.
So you think Volkanovski should just wait for that winner?
Yeah.
Movsar, that's a risky fight for him to take because if he loses, not back to the back of the line, but you have to wait. And as far as the Lopez side of things, like Steve's saying, a lot of people wanted to see this rematch. Is he just stuck in purgatory, I guess, until Volkanovski loses that much?
Yeah, I mean, really, I honestly didn't want to see that fight. I don't know who did, but I mean, realistically, I mean, I'm just trying to go through everybody's kind of who's fought who. You know, Evlov has beat Sterling, so Sterling isn't going to leapfrog him to get to the title shot. So Evlov beat Diego Lopez. So yeah, I mean, Mofsar is the only option that I see, along with Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy is undefeated as well. And that sucks, man, putting two undefeated guys against each other.
Yeah, somebody's gotta go.
Damn, that sucks. Yeah, that's the only fight to make is who. Yeah, that better be a title contender. I'd be pissed if I was either one of them that wins and doesn't get a title shot.
Yeah, I mean, featherweight is an interesting division. Am I as far as you got your old aging champion, and then you got some upstarts, and it's just trying to see like the pecking order, see who comes over and takes over as far as that division goes.
Yeah, I mean, you have a bunch of killers in that like top 7, and then it kind of almost hits gatekeeper territory once you get past that. You got your Brian Ortegas, your Josh Emmets. They still have Patricio Pitbull ranked there, and they got rid of him, right? Didn't he get dropped?
It might wasn't it it wasn't Pitbull, wasn't it it was a Bellator guy, wasn't it
or was it a different one that got dropped?
Tricky Patchy Mix, wasn't it Patchy Mix?
Oh yeah, Patchy Mix, never mind. Yeah, my bad. But okay, but yeah, I still kind of stand by it. There's quite a few that could be considered almost gatekeeper guys towards the end of that featherweight, top 15. Brian Ortega. I think Brian Ortega is kind of approaching kind of gatekeeper status of the featherweights. So yeah, I mean, featherweight's an interesting place once you get to that top 7 area.
So Steve, I was asking, is it the winner Murphy and Mozart or bust, or can you see Volkanovski possibly going against somebody else in the division?
I would definitely say those two are up to bat unless we see something miraculous to where they don't want somebody from 8 to rank 10. But, I think in order to signify his championship state, I think he would have to fight the best that are right there. I think that would be, and they already were talking about over the commentators, like they know already he only has 1.5, 2 fights left. So I think he would have to fight those two.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how things shake out because he's not getting any younger, and there's a lot of young guns, aiming to get that title. So we'll see what happens, who he gets paired up in the future. But at the end of the day, like I said, he tied all those records. So he's definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer and probably the best featherweight of all time. So hats off to Volkanovski for going in there and getting the job done. But before we get out of here, the records for this past weekend, me and Admire both went 3-2, and Steve went 2-3, which puts the overall records for the year. Me and Admire are tied so far, neck and neck, 7-3, and Steve is 5-5. And one other thing before we get on here is it's not a card until next month, so we'll go ahead and do the casual comment of the month. And I was able to find one, and I will share this for the people watching on YouTube, and I'm gonna get your thoughts on this comment. On the UFC Reddit page, somebody said, worst champion right now, doesn't even tries to get involved in his division, just calling out super fights like he deserves it. And there's a picture of Khamzat Chimaev. So what do you think about this comment?
Well, I mean, it's Reddit, so these guys, they just, I can't ever tell if they're just rage baiting or what they're doing, but I kind of agree. He calls out a lot of super fight stuff, but when was his last fight? I think his last fight was DDP in August, so 4 or 5, going on 6 months. Like, what is your next real fight, dude? Like, why aren't you out calling for a fight? You know, that you don't have anything booked. You know, I mean, I definitely can't say worst champ ever. That's bullshit. You know, that's a casual comment for sure. I can name,
I was focusing more so on, he says the worst champion. Come on.
Definitely. I mean, there's hundreds of really bad champions that we've had throughout the years, but I do think it is stupid that, you know, somebody that's, you know, fresh to the belt, you know, he just wanted against DDP, so he hasn't even defended the belt yet. Don't be calling for a super fight or any of that other shit. Yeah, like, I think that if Dana wants to start being taken more serious, wants to, you know, it's a new age, no pay-per-views, we're new to Paramount, we're trying to enter this new era, you know, lay some real rules. Say, you know, there's a hard rule. You have to defend your title X amount of times before you get a super fight. Don't even say super fight until you do this. You know, if you don't have a belt, go do all the super fights you want. But if you have a belt, you're not going to hold up to the division unless you defend it 3 times.
Well, before I get your thoughts, Steve, I hate the super fights if it's not like a real super fight, especially if somebody hasn't defended the title. So even though, like I said, I was more so hopping on it when he says the worst champion. But yeah, I mean, Chimaev just called out Alex Pereira, but Kamaru was kind of defending his decision because he was like, he thinks Chimaev struggles to make 185. So what do you think about that, Admire?
He says Chimaev struggles to make 185?
That's what Usman said.
Really? I mean, you know, he would know more than me about it, but I didn't know that he struggled at. I mean, he did. I mean, he's fought at welterweight. He's done a catchweight at 180. I know that before. Well, I wonder what he walks around at. I'd be interested to know that. But I mean, he doesn't seem like he walks around too super heavy. And if Pat, you know, we talked about Patty Pimblett. If Patty Pimblett can walk around as big as he does and cut down to 155, Chimaev should be able to, even if he walks around at 220, should be fine cutting down to 185. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well, what do you just think about this comment overall, especially like him being the worst champion, Steve?
Definitely not worst champion as far as skill. I think his ethic on trying to rank as many people on your belt, I think that's what he's lacking. Not fighting,
fast enough. It's been a long time. It's almost like a memory. His last fight, it doesn't feel like yesterday. And it's a significant win it was. But calling out super fights was one, not even a defense. I don't think so. And Kamara might be right. I heard a few people say that he walks around like at 235, like 230. So he's cutting that much. I mean, he probably wouldn't like to cut to middleweight. And probably you think he would get an easy win with Pierre. You know, he's strategizing himself at a good moment in his career to where I would say skillfully he would be on top either way. He's just being, to me, selfish, you know, for the on the fan's sake, so to speak.
I mean, I know he observes Ramadan, so that kind of affects his fighting schedule. But wasn't he injured too, Admire? And he had some injuries going on at one point.
I thought so. I thought he had something going on. I can't remember exactly what it was.
So, you know, I think some of him not fighting is out of his control. But I mean, as much as I don't like super fights when there's not a build to it and defenses, I don't know if I would hate him and Pierre. And if you that fight on paper, I might actually pick Chimaev in that fight.
100%. I would 100% take Chimaev in that fight.
Because Pierre is not like a huge. I mean, people always say he can fight heavyweight because he walks around at 220 something, but he didn't make the middleweight, so it's not like we hadn't seen him at middleweight. And Chimaev, they're saying he's a big middleweight, so I don't think it would be like a big size difference. And nobody's really Pierre is benefits of getting really good matchups because they don't really put him against wrestlers like that for some reason. I don't know why. Even with the Ankalaev fight, Ankalaev didn't even try to wrestle him like that. I can't remember the first fight. Didn't he just basically even though he beat him, even though Ankalaev beat him, wasn't he standing up with him most of the fight? That fight.
He stood up with him most of that fight, but I think they ended up saying like Pierre might have had some kind of small injury or something, and he didn't look like himself. And then I think the second fight kind of proved it because Pierre smoked him.
Indeed, he did. But nobody's who's really trying to test Pierre in the wrestling department like that.
I mean, Chimaev will. Chimaev won't play that shit. I mean, Chimaev will go right in there, grab a hold of him, and take him down. That's the thing. I mean, if Chimaev and Pierre fight, like, I'll bet the farm.
I think Chimaev will stretch Pierre, but styles make fights. You know, if anybody has a chance of catching somebody, it would be Pierre. But like Admire said, I would put my money on Chimaev in that fight. But we'll see. I hadn't really heard any whispers of any fights on the horizon for him, so we'll have to see how that shakes out. But yeah, definitely a casual comment. But
did you watch boxing this weekend before we go?
Yeah, we did. We actually, before we got on here, we did a quickie episode, and so for those that boxing fans, go ahead. That dropped the day before, so go ahead and check that out. What were your thoughts on the Teofimo and Shakur Stevenson?
Dude, that's complete domination. That was beautiful. I also bet on that one. I actually I bet for it to end. I thought Shakur Stevenson would have ended that. Teofimo looked like shit at the end of that fight. Terrence Crawford was very excited that Teofimo lost.
I don't even know they had beef, but I know Stevenson is Terrence Crawford's guy. So yeah,
Terrence Crawford was in the ring just laughing and dancing and kind of just rubbing it in Teofimo's face.
Yeah, like I said, for all the boxing fans, go ahead and check out that quick episode where we break that down. But before we get out of here, what do you think about Big Baby losing his wig? We talked about that too.
Lost his wig and he still won.
Man, you think he shouldn't even attempted to come up with that man unit?
He tried saying that he went to his sister's or his mom's house and he thought it was shampoo and something happened and it made his hair fall out, so he had to go get a toupee put on. Like it sounded like if you watch the interview about it, like it sounds like such a bullshit story.
So I thought he was just saying that, whatever he put in his hair, like made the wig fall off, but he's saying it made his actual hair fall off.
Something like that. It's a weird fucking story. It was all over the radio this morning.
That sounds like cap to me. Like you said, it sounds like BS. But like I said, we went in on them in the Quickie Show, so go ahead and check that out. But yeah, as far as the number card, like I said, it's not going to be one until early March, and there's a bunch of fight nights. If we have time and the energy, I might recap one of those. So just be on the lookout, but I doubt it because a lot of those fight night cards are top heavy. It's the main event and nothing else. So we'll see. Be on the lookout on social media if we end up recapping one of those. But that'll do it for us for this episode of Haymaker Combat Sports. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms, Twitter, IG, TikTok, and make sure to subscribe and like on the YouTube if y'all haven't already. But that'll do it for us here at Haymaker Combat Sports. Until next time, be safe out there. Later.
Hit the takedown, ground and pound. That was from the top. Heel hooking on one plot to leave you in the knot. Pound for pound, been the greatest. Sitting on the top, and I'm laughing at the fools who think they coming for the spot. You ain't got a shot, it's already mine.